Who's got roommates? This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 538, recorded on Wednesday, October 28th, 2015. The science outside is frightful! Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki, if you could tell, and today we will fill your heads with mummies, zombies, and a shriek for help! But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer! Thrice the toxo-cat hath mewed, as Blair brought invertebrate sex news. Kiki cries,
Twist time! Twist time!
so round up the minions, go! And in the science stories throw.
Double toil and trouble. Let the science cauldron bubble.
Scale of dino, neander tooth, evolution finds its proof. Idea of Newton, brain of bird, of what dark matter have you heard?
Double toil and trouble. Let the science cauldron bubble.
Vision of bat, Martian fog, growing livers in a hog, giraffe necks up for debate, global warming, it's not too late.
Double toil and trouble. Let the science cauldron bubble.
And while the haunting hallowed eve grows near, the minions' favorite hour is here, as lively as a witch's hex. It's This Week in Science, coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I wanna learn everything. I wanna fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I wanna know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to you, Kirsten and Blair.
It's not quite All Hallows Eve, but you know, you gotta get in the spirit any way you can.
It's Twissoween.
It's Twissoween! We're here once again. This is another day of science. Happy day of science, everyone. Welcome to This Week in Science. We have a great show ahead. If I can see the news to read it, we can talk about it. On this week's show, I have stories about some venomous viper Band-Aids and some scary meat products. And the blackest black you've ever seen. What you got, Justin?
I've got zombies, mummies, going werewolf, Black Death, perhaps, and the biggest open bar party in the solar system.
Nice. That sounds like fun. Get me a ticket, or we might have to crash it. But I don't want to crash into it. I don't know. Blair, what does the Animal Corner have?
I have spider webs, and I have liquid ants, and I have shrieks of despair, and also babies.
Those are scary too. I totally get that.
Babies.
Baby.
Oh.
All right, everybody, let's get into this Twissoween program with all of the science we have to offer. You know what's been scaring people the most this week?
Meat?
Yeah, the idea that they might not be able to eat it anymore. It's been terrifying people. Have you seen people talking? All the social networks. Oh my gosh,
I can't have my bacon.
I can't have bacon. The World Health Organization has decreed that bacon is cancerous.
Oh no.
Didn't we already know that a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
it's full of salt and preservatives and all sorts of, like, it's cooked in a way that usually when you cook it at a fairly high temperature, and all these processes add up to compounds that go into your body that can interact with your DNA and result in cancer.
And that's the thing I noticed at this too, is like most of the foods that they mentioned, like hot dogs was on this list. I mean, this is like barbecue fare too, a lot of it. And I'm thinking,
yeah,
well, is it from all the charred barbecue people are eating? Like, because that's just, you're devouring carbons at that point.
It could have something to do with that, because there have been stories that we've talked about in the past, and I'm sure that is part of the data that is going into the assessment by which the World Health Organization has made this conclusion, put this conclusion forward. Anyway, what they're looking at is the percent risk, increased risk of cancer that people can get. And so by eating processed meat, more people are likely to get colorectal cancer. So the World Cancer Research Fund has found that 16% of an increased risk of colorectal cancer is associated with each 3.5 ounces of red and processed meat that are consumed per day. So it's kind of like what is talked about as a serving size, which is about the size of a deck of cards. And so if you have that serving size, a single serving of processed or red meat every day, it increases your risk of colorectal cancer by 16%. However, we're talking about relative risk. And so colorectal cancer is not a type of cancer that lots of people get anyway. And so when you actually start calculating this stuff out, it comes out to, well, if you eat meat every day, you eat this processed or red meat every day, your likelihood of developing cancer probably only increases by about 1.8% relative to the rest of the population of increased risk. So the issue here is the way that the World Health Organization looks at it. Something like smoking, that is going to increase everybody's risk for cancer substantially. So lung cancer, that's a very risky thing. Lots of people get lung cancer, and smoking definitely is a risk factor. Basically, you're going to be much more likely to get it, Justin.
Well, but I don't eat a lot of barbecue fare, so now I feel as though
you can shave 1.8% off of that.
Right. Yeah, I'm dying everything else.
90%. Yeah.
I'm working on everything else.
Yeah. And so anyway, red meat also has a lot of protein, micronutrients, lots of stuff that is good for you in it. So don't take this, don't be scared of meat. You know, a lot of people have been saying, oh, this is just proof that everyone should be vegetarians. And it's like, well, if you're eating vegetables and fruits, those are going to increase your risk of cancer also. And there was a study recently relating foods that are high in antioxidants to actually increasing the growth of tumor.
Oh my gosh.
So what does it come down to really then? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like dying in a car accident greatly reduces your chance of getting cancer.
Yeah, dying.
Dying of other causes than cancer are the only way to really reduce your risk of getting cancer eventually.
Pretty much.
At some point, there's got to be.
Yeah. The antioxidant study was really interesting though, because that one was it basically is the stuff that keeps your cells healthy also keeps tumor cells healthy. Right. So it really the antioxidants actually really help tumors to grow. So that needs a rethink. Oh, and the take-home point of all this, since you're afraid of your meat, vegetarians, you need to be afraid of your hot dogs as well.
Oh no.
Because a recent analysis of hot dogs of all kinds, meat and vegetarian, by a group that's called Clear Food. It's a consumer guide that makes recommendations for diet based on DNA analysis. They grabbed a whole bunch of packs of hot dogs and they analyzed them, basically just to make sure that, to give nutritional information and give dietary advice to people. But what they found is that about 10% of vegetarian hot dogs contained meat.
No.
Yeah, and 2% of all the samples contained human DNA.
Oh, gross. Does that mean fingers in the machinery? Is that what that means?
Oh, yeah, that's a possibility. I was
That's
thinking
the
more so that it's like
that's
hair,
the best case scenario.
skin cells. Yeah.
The other one is, we gotta lay you off, Jimmy, and then they push him into the machine.
Oops.
Right? Like, where do all those missing mobsters in New Jersey end up? And oh yeah, isn't New Jersey where all our meatpacking plants are? Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So vegetarians, your veggie hot dogs might not be completely veggie, and also people who are trying to get, chicken hot dogs or turkey hot dogs, those very commonly contain pork.
So what do we think? It's the same machinery that was making the meat hot dogs before, and they don't clean them properly? Is that the idea?
Possibly. I have no idea.
We don't know. It's a
don't
mystery.
know.
Maybe the meat is actually cheaper than the soy, and so they pad it. That's also possible, right?
That is possible as well. Padded hot dogs. That's kind of scary.
Chances are whoever owns the machinery that makes hot dogs isn't a strict vegetarian himself, so probably isn't going at it with the same rigor that somebody else might.
Sure.
Right. Speaking of rigor, sometimes you just want to make things stiff. Okay, that wasn't a good segue. But anyway, my next story.
There were worse options. There were worse options for that segue.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm talking about scabs and and wounds that just bleed and bleed and bleed, especially if somebody is on a blood thinner like heparin, for example, or if they have a disease in which their blood just does not clot. In situations where these individuals have to undergo surgery, the surgeons have lots of trouble keeping it from bleeding too much. And so researchers at Rice University have incorporated a snake venom into a hydrogel using nanofibers so that instead of just letting somebody bleed and trying to figure out ways to stop the bleeding, like sopping it up with little pads and stuff, now this gel, if it's approved, could actually be applied to these wounds as they're being surgeried on, and this snake venom, which is called batroxabin, actually causes coagulation. So instead of because it's all inside the hydrogel, the toxin doesn't end up moving systemically through a person and affecting other systems that you don't want to have effective. It stays exactly where you put it in the wound, allowing the blood to clot. So it's kind of it's a very interesting new idea, but researchers have known about the coagulant effects of this batroxabin since about the 1930s. So it's not a new toxin, it's just a new application.
I love this because it sounds kind of like a super medieval barber tactic. Almost like giving somebody leeches or something. Oh, let me put some snake venom in this wound right here to make it clot. But that's so awesome. It's kind of this full circle of in those kind of super medieval times before we came up with a lot of modern medicine, we searched for these, in some ways, very silly medicinal things in nature, and now we find ourselves looking for stuff there and actually finding these awesome things in the least likely of places that probably sound totally ridiculous, like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And so RG Peabody's asking what the nanofibers are, and I do not know exactly what the fibers are, but the hydrogel is called gel foam, and it's a there are these kinds of hydrogels that are used in medicine and also in research. It's like these fibers act as like a scaffold that can absorb a lot of stuff. So that's It's very helpful. And then my final story, the blackest black. Researchers really have made the blackest black ever, and they did so by looking at a really white white. Isn't that interesting?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So these researchers at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia looked at this beetle, which is called the Psiphocylus beetle. And the Psiphocylus beetle is all white. It adapted to become all white because it lives on a white fungus. And so it just makes it easier to survive and not get picked off by animals if it blends in. The white of this beetle is it's made up of these nanoparticles that are all aligned in the shell of the beetle and the scales as a photonic crystal structure. And the crystalline structure is really irregular. There are all these fibers, these little threads that stick out at different angles, and kind of they look like this dense, tangled, like a tangled hedge without any leaves. But in their makeup, what happens is they're able to bounce light around and reflect it very efficiently, so it ends up reflecting all colors of the rainbow and hence looking white. So the researchers at this university, took that and then flipped the idea around. And they said, okay, well, these threads, these little rods kind of poke outwards, so let's turn it around and let's take a rod and stick it to a little ball. And so in putting these structures together, they created a new nanoparticle rod with a little sphere that can now absorb 98 to 99% of the light in the spectrum between 400 and 1400 nanometers, which is a really good part of the visible spectrum of light. And it's almost 26% more light than any other known material. And they set it up kind of like this beetle shell, so that it's all different angles and these rods and balls stick out all over the place and are really irregular. And in doing so, it allows light to hit it from any direction and in any polarization or any twisting directionality. And so in doing that, it doesn't matter how the light is hitting it, it still absorbs all the energy and just looks black. Ooh. It's so cool. And they weren't satisfied with just doing that. They also took this material and fired a laser at it, and they actually, by creating a very specific energy level fired at the laser, and since the material doesn't absorb absolutely everything, it does fire some light back out eventually, and so it absorbs a bit and then fires a little bit out, and so it has these single color monochromatic emissions that can be let off. So they have also a new type of light source, and so they're thinking this can be used in solar applications, so for collecting light for solar arrays, maybe in some kind of optical telecommunications aspect, maybe desalination projects where you want to get all the sunlight coming in and heating something up, water, heating it up to get the salt out. There's all sorts of ideas, and they're very excited about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everything black.
Everything is black in my world.
Ooh.
That's because my hair's in my face. Hey, Justin, what you got?
Well, we are all familiar, I think, with the dread of the museum night attendant, at least for those museum night attendants who have an Egyptian exhibit. Yes, the mummy. If you're not familiar with mummy, and I realize, like, at a certain age, you're really familiar with what a mummy is. If you're younger, you may be confused because mummies aren't quite as prominent in horror films as they once were.
That's true.
Mummy is basically a zombie that's been TP'd. The neighborhood kids got together and threw a whole bunch of toilet paper at it, and it's still...
And their brain came out through their nose, and all of their bodily fluids are gone.
Still living that. It's, yeah. So... most often, though, even in the classic horror films, the mummy was considered an Egyptian sort of a thing. This is sort of what we think of when we think of mummies. There was even a point where they were pulling so many mummies out of the ground in Egypt that they began using them as fuel for trains. And I kid you not, they were doing this. They were throwing them into trains for combustion for the steam locomotives of old. According to recent research, though, the British love their mummies too. Oh, mummy! Indicating that mummification may have been widely practiced throughout the Bronze Age Britain, according to archaeologists at the University of Sheffield. Part of the problem in studying mummies of ancient Britain is that there aren't any examples, really. They found a partially mummified piece, and they find these pretty well preserved, but not that well preserved bodies in the bottom of bogs. But they hadn't really thought that there was any sort of mummification going on until they started to find a couple, like there was a hand and there was another foot, or there was a couple pieces that were mummified that they went, well, how odd is this practice if it didn't take place everywhere? What they discovered, though, is that it's harder to keep the mummification process intact because of the weather of Britain and these
moist
bodies,
mummies.
These are moist mummies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The British mummies aren't in tombs; they're still being buried outdoors. So there was just deterioration naturally, just slower, and that's sort of how they came about finding this. They looked through Bronze Age burial sites across the UK. The research team found that the preservation of Bronze Age skeletons at various sites throughout the UK is different to the preservation of bones dating to all prehistoric and historic periods, which are generally consistent with natural decomposition. These Bronze Age mummies or skeletons were not. They were better preserved than or as well preserved as some that were newer and didn't show that normal deterioration over time. They also discovered that the Bronze Age Britons may have used a variety of techniques to mummify their dead. They say our research shows that smoking over a fire and purposeful intentional burial within a peat bog are among some of the techniques ancient Britons may have used to mummify their dead. Other techniques could have included evisceration, in which the organs are removed shortly after death. So the whole mummification thing might be a European tradition as well. And now with this technique, they're going to try to go around to some of the other areas where they may not have had evidence of mummification in the past, but in studying the bones of those who died around the same time period, they may discover that mummification was a much more widespread form of entombment than we thought.
Cool. I think probably in England, where there were lots of peat bogs, since the dead would just decompose outside of them, they must have just dumped people into peat bogs.
And it may have been convenient too. There's another aspect of this that they didn't get into, but they do say that they're discovering all sorts of strange burial techniques that go along with this. One of those, I guess, that came from that is evidence of smoking, like you would smoke fish. Interesting.
Right?
So there's like they're
Smoked
finding
grandpa.
right, yeah, and like you do that with fish, so it'll last through the winter.
Mesquite grandpa.
So it won't deteriorate as quickly. So they found they're on the cusp of really doing this research, and this discovery really opened up that there is something to be studied. Also, I've got the next story. Actually, sort of begins as a bit of a fairy tale, which isn't really in time for the holiday here, but this starts with lusciously flowering plants surrounded by insects. Nature in its symbiotic beauty at work. Insects feasting on plant juice and pollen, then pollinating the flowers, and thus securing the survival of the next generation to begin again. However, in this story, the ending is nothing short of abject arborist horror. Where the insect in this story is a certain species of leafhopper that will turn these plants into zombies.
Oh no.
Wait, zombie plants?
Zombie plants.
So Plants versus Zombies got it wrong.
This is Plants as Zombies. Yes,
Yeah.
This is something the makers of the game app could not have foretold.
No.
Or maybe this is what happens when you lose the game. You have plant zombies running around. What happens taking place is the insects transmit bacteria, so-called phytoplasmas, which destroy the life cycle of the plant, says Professor Dr. Günther Thieben, Friedrich Schiller University in Germany. Instead of blossoming, these afflicted specimens only form vestigial leaf structures, and thus prevents any further sexual reproduction taking place. These plants become the living dead, the geneticist points out. Eventually, they only serve to the spread of bacteria. So they continue to fill up with the bacteria, but they can't reproduce, so they're just sort of like a filling up spot for these insects as they go on. To the next.
What does a zombie plant say? They don't say brains. They say stems. Stem.
Where's my
roots?
Shoots.
Root shoots.
Postgraduate student Florian Rumpler, lead author of the publication, explains one of the main culprits is a protein called SAP54. This protein comes from the bacteria and bears a strong structural resemblance to proteins which form a regulatory complex inside the plant, which permits the normal development of the blossom. Basis of the modeling studies, the scientists were able to show that SAP54 imitates the structure of the certain protein in the plant, and then they connect with this SAP54 instead of their own proteins. This prevents the formation of petals and flower organs, Rumpler explains. This is how they become zombified. It's already kind of have the zombie walk down, though. They just don't walk.
Yeah. Venus flytrap.
Let's see. And then there's a third one here. I got time for this. I think I'll get this one in. This is actually, it's happening again. Clenching your fist, you fight the urge. You begin to sweat, knowing the fight is futile. The change is coming whether you like it or not, as always happens when the moon is full. Your blood begins to boil. You rip off your clothes and are heading to the yard, ready to howl for all you are worth, and yet a quick glance back at your reflection in the glass of the sliding door reveals you aren't a bit hairier than when all this started. More bear wolf than werewolf, but don't worry, help is on the way. Experiments with mouse and human hair follicles. Angela Cristiano, PhD, and colleagues found that drugs that inhibit the Janus kinase family of enzymes promote rapid and robust hair growth when directly applied to the skin. Inhibiting a family of enzymes inside hair follicles that are suspended in a resting state restores this growth. So hair doesn't just grow, 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 grow. Hair grows, it rests, it grows, it rests. And in certain afflictions, that resting period is where the hair stops. And therefore, look, if you can see this video, you can see apparently the professor may have used some of this on herself. That or the camera crew just showed up on a bad hair day and she had no time.
I think it's a fantastic hair day.
Isn't it
Her
gorgeous?
hair's amazing. Yes.
Yeah, so they were working on a drug that would help when you have immune system inhibited hair growth, and it was taken internally, and then they did some external usages of it, and they found the external usage when they put it directly on the mice, it grew hair even better than the internal did.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it says mice treated for 5 days with one or of two JAK inhibitors sprouted new hair within 10 days, greatly accelerating the hair follicle growth phase, whereas no hair grew on untreated control mice in that same time period.
So it sounds like Rogaine, but real.
But real, yeah. I would say that
Possibly.
this is something that people could get very excited about.
Absolutely, they should be. And Columbia, I think, university where this is out of, is patenting this, of course, along with a company that is owned by Cristiano, the head researcher. So, disclaimer, 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 everybody involved in this press release has an active financial role in the future of the product, However, the fact that they're doing it through scientific channels, through university patenting, this sort of thing, gives some hope that the werewolf's days, the werewolf's days of hairless howling may be coming to an end.
I do appreciate the Janus kinase is also called Jack. So at the end of this, if this does turn into a product that people can use, their byline could be like, "Get jacked."
Oh my god.
It could be funny. I think things like that are funny.
I have the real name somewhere. It's like not. You should have gone to work for them. I think that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't find it here now. This is one of the other drugs they were testing when they came into this. But yeah, I doubt they'll be that creative.
Yeah, probably not. All right, this is This Week in Science, and do you guys know what time it is?
I think it's that time again.
I know. Are you ready to get scared by Blair's Animal Corner?
She loves our creature, great and small. 5-peg, millipede, no pet at all. Wanna hear about animals? She's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels. Animal Corner.
So, picture this. You are wandering in the woods. Something comes up behind you. It grabs you. What do you do?
I scream.
But why do you scream? Why?
Well, according to personal safety classes that I took while I was a college student, it is to let other people know that you're in trouble.
Sure.
Because if you shout loud enough, then maybe somebody will
Cry for help.
help you.
Exactly. So with humans, we are pretty high up on the food chain, and we are all capable. And so we, if we hear someone in trouble, might rush to that person's aid. If you were very low on the food chain,
Like a bunny.
or in this case, a damselfish, and
Okay,
you
like
were
a
caught,
damselfish.
if you were caught by a predator, they...
Fish scream.
Well-
Are you going to tell me that fish scream?
Did you know that underwater no one can hear you scream?
That's true. Sure, it really can. It's like a bloop, bloop, bloop.
No, they let out a distress call. That's a chemical. It's a chemical alarm. And they do this when they get grabbed by a predator.
Ah, got it.
But why? Why would they do this?
I think. Okay, now wait. Which is the creature that we're talking about here?
The damselfish.
Okay, so the damselfish,
Oh,
I think, isn't
damsel.
asking for help. But this reminds sharks do this, right?
Do what?
Yeah. So this I don't want to hijack the story, but this was this crazy thing I learned from Shark Week, which you guys don't like.
Yes, true.
But an
Tuesday
orca took down a great white, and all the great whites in the area, like immediately after, took off for Hawaii. They were like out of here, and they're a top predator. And
Right.
you figure, why would a top predator need it? Because they haven't always been. in
Sure.
the sea.
And that makes sense. I'm totally with you there. I mean, sharks have been around for like 100 million years. So that totally makes sense. Now, with the damselfish, why would you scream? Why would you let out this chemical distress call when you're already getting eaten? So
Well, to
you
let
understand-
other fish know that there's
Exactly.
danger out there.
Right.
Run.
But how does that benefit the damselfish who's been caught? Well, you would think maybe they'd have some relatives out there, and so their genes will still get away. But it turns out it's more complicated than that. So in a new study at James Cook University, they found that the damselfish actually benefits from the distress call. The damselfish getting attacked benefits. And that's because the chemical alarm cue actually serves as a alarm to predators that there is food nearby. And so it attracts more predators. And you would think that that would actually be trouble for the damselfish, except that it actually means that the additional predators interfere with the initial predator, and it usually creates enough confusion that the damselfish can actually escape. And they found that 40% of the time, damselfish escaped when more predators came. However, when they did not have more predators introduced into the situation, the damselfish died every time.
Wow.
So 40% increase in the likelihood of escape. That's pretty significant.
That's huge.
It's
Yeah.
very significant. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where they actually are calling more enemies to come and fight over themselves. There's all sorts of kind of fun literary stories. I immediately think about The Hobbit and how he convinced all of, I think it was the trolls when they were going to eat him, to argue over him, and he was able to escape. That's exactly what it's about. Sorry to play my nerd card there, but so crying for help.
If I can play my geographical National Geographic card at this point, this is sort of like being pursued by a hyena and then being lucky enough to run into a pack of lions.
Exactly. Yep. Totally. So.
Except the damselfish is basically called the lions.
Yeah, no, that's the point.
You're not just running into a pack of lions.
Yeah,
You're
saying,
come on.
I got something you might want to check out. These guys are in your neighborhood. Come talk to them, please.
All right. Yeah, so that is another reason to scream. If you're attacked, you might call more predators. Anywho.
He's taking my wallet, and I've got a lot of money in it.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you had to guess, would you say that ants are more like a solid or a liquid?
Ants. You're talking about the insect.
Yes.
I would go with a solid material.
Okay.
An ant, a single ant, is like a solid.
Sure.
But ants, are they like grains of sand?
They're bigger than that. They're fire ants.
Yeah.
They're pretty large.
Yeah. Okay, answer this question. I don't know.
They're both. Trick question.
Ah.
Yes. So this is a very important question.
Ooh, are they like a non-Newtonian fluid?
Yes. They're like Oobleck. That's exactly what they're like. So the Georgia Institute of Technology wanted to figure out if ants are more like a solid or a liquid. Because we know that, for example, when floodwaters hit, that ants can work together to make a raft and they can stay alive. And other times they can use their bodies collectively to build bridges and span gaps. So they're able to do all these crazy things. And for example, if you put a penny on top of a group of ants, it will sink and the ants will go over the top just like if it was sinking through gel. So they took ants, they took live ants, and they sheared them. Basically that means that they submitted them to pressure and kind of twisting pressure. And this is used to separate sheets of a solid, or if it's not a solid, then it would just kind of move around fluidly. And they did it at constant speeds from 0.0001 RPMs up to about 100 RPMs. And they found that the behavior of the live ants was similar to that of dead ants. When the aggregation is forced to flow, live ants let go and they play dead. So in that case, the viscosity changed as the speed increased. And I love all of the similes in this article. So for one, Alberto Fernandez Nieves, which is the associate professor in the School of Physics, says, they're not unlike ketchup. The harder you squeeze, the easier it flows. But with ants, this happens much more dramatically than with ketchup. So they do seem to have an on-off switch where they act like a solid form and they move around actively until a sudden point of pressure when they let go and act dead. Yeah, so they want to be together, but they let go and behave like a fluid to prevent getting squished, injured, killed, any of those things.
Wow.
So if you are ever faced with a vat of ants that you have to walk across, get across somehow, it's a pond filled with ants and you have to cross it. The only
Run.
way you should run. Don't walk
Uh-huh.
because if you walk, you'll sink.
Yep.
If you run, you will turn it
Yes.
into a solid beneath your feet. And make you
Exactly.
cross.
So if you poke it like this, it acts like a solid. But if you push slowly, your finger will sink into the ants.
I
So
do
that's
not-
just like. Go
I
ahead.
don't recommend poking fire ants ever.
Yes. Good call. Don't do that.
Don't. Just
However,
don't.
if you want to experiment with a Newtonian fluid, look up Oobleck on the
Absolutely.
internet. It's basically just cornstarch and water, and it acts exactly like that. You can slap it, and it acts totally solid, but if you
So
push
fun.
slowly, it's a fluid. It's amazing.
It's
So,
fun to play
Yes.
with.
Comet
Yes.
made that one.
yes. So
I've made it. I've made
Yeah,
it
it was
before.
cool
It's
stuff.
fun.
I just want to mention that this finding is the culmination of 10 years of study on ants. Not the only thing after 10 years of study on ants, but it's part of it. And it's more food similes. Are you ready? Imagine if you wanted to make the most Jell-O possible out of a packet of gelatin. It would be solid, but also very liquidy. That's because there would be just barely enough gelatin to make it solid-like, but not enough to make it completely solid. The Jell-O would be both solid-like and liquid-like. So now picture in your mind's eye ant Jell-O. Great. And here's my last and favorite simile.
Ew. I'm not
If you-
happy with these ideas. These metaphors are not making me happy.
It's Halloween.
Yeah,
If you
these
cut a
images.
dinner roll with a knife, you end up with 2 pieces of bread. That's a solid. If you cut through a pile of ants, they'll simply let the knife go through them and then reform on the other side. They're like liquid metal, just like that scene in the Terminator movie. Yeah.
That was good. All right.
Yes. Last, spider silk. Very useful for many things. Our
We
good
love
friend,
it.
the orb weaver, makes some of the most magnificent spider silk. And 12 years of study in the College of Sciences at the Fraulein Life Sciences Institute has been looking at turning orb weaver spider webs into glue. So they have a very special kind of adhesive, and they want to make this into a human use adhesive because for many reasons. First of all, it's very strong, but also it's natural. A lot of our glues are not natural and not good for the environment. But the most recent study looking at these orb weaver spider webs, they found actually that there are 2 very different types of spider webs that these orb weavers that they were studying make. And mainly, there are some orb weavers that hang out during the day and use the daylight to catch prey, and there are orb weaver spiders that hang out in the shadows, and they're out at night. And there's a very big difference between the 2 different types of glue in these webs. So ultraviolet rays, specifically UVB rays, are a huge environmental factor in the performance of spider glue. And so
Right.
the
They're
ones
going
that
to
hunt,
degrade it, right?
yeah, so the ones that hunt in night, their webs don't stand up to the UVB rays at all. But the sun-soaked spiders, their webs were very resistant to the UVB rays. So this just basically lets us know we're one step closer to figuring out how to make spider glue by knowing that this is another element that we have to test and account for. Is we can't use a glue product that we think is super strong, and then the second it succumbs to UVB radiation, it falls apart. We
Right.
need a glue that's going to be better than that. So before we can just grab spider glue and send it out to the masses, we have to include UVB irradiation as part of the testing process.
And so basically look at these orb spider webs that are daytime webs.
Exactly.
Nighttime.
Yes.
Yeah. I have one in my front yard. They can
No,
take it if they'd
yeah.
like.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you recall, but an orb weaver is what I almost walked face first into last month.
They build wonderful webs, and I would like to
Right
give
there.
I would like to give an update on the spider in my front yard.
Okay.
There used to be, or at least the spider community in my yard, there used to be many, many spiders, and they were all kind of small. Now there's one giant spider.
Oh,
Spider is
good
huge,
girl.
just cleaning up, eating bugs right and left, doing its natural job in the environment. It's fantastic. Although the web's been there a week or two now and is starting to fall apart a little bit.
Oh
So
no, what's she doing? Falling asleep on the job.
I know she's not fixing her web very much, but she's eating a lot. She's
Oh my.
huge. She's
My
huge.
goodness.
Yeah. It's intimidating, but I like her.
Speaking of Halloween and spiders, we just got at the zoo a pumpkin spider, which I didn't even know exists. It's quite marvelous. I'll pull up a screenshot of that during the break. But pumpkin spiders, look it up. It's a real thing.
Awesome.
And that's it for the
wonderful.
quarter this week.
All right. Well, I hope everyone also understands that it is, what is it? It's International Bat Day today, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think it's Bat Day today, or it was
Is it
Bat
really?
Day yesterday. There's at least one day this week that you're supposed to be thinking about bats.
Well, what good timing.
And very good timing for Halloween. And everyone, you should know, bats are amazing. Don't be afraid of them.
Yes.
Bats are our friends.
They are our friends.
We need to support the bats. Support the bats! And on that note, we'll be right back with a little bit more of This Week in Science. Thanks for watching us so far. We've got more great science news coming up in the next half of the show. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Hey everybody, this is This Week in Science. You've been listening to us for years, or maybe this is your first time listening. I hope you're enjoying the show no matter what. Welcome. Welcome. You are a TWIS minion if you're here. TWIS has all sorts of merchandise that you can wear to show off your appreciation for the show that we bring to you every single week. So head on over to twis.org, look for our Zazzle store link. It's up in the main header bar. Click on it, and you'll be directed immediately to a page full of wonders. Well, actually, it's mostly like hats and t-shirts and bags, tote bags, things like that, mugs, things with the TWIS logo emblazoned all over them. Buy. Feel free to buy and support the show that brings you the science news week after week after week. TWIS is also supported by your donations. So if you feel up to the challenge of just giving us a little money, cash money, we use PayPal, and we also have an account at Patreon. Patreon.com/thisweekinscience is the account. And any amount that you're able to give, whether it's $1, whether it's $500, whatever you can give, it helps. It helps us do everything that we need to do. It gives us new equipment whenever our microphones go bad, or like what happened to me last year, a random mic stand just sheared in half, and I had to put my microphone on books for a while. That was ridiculous. But it's things like that we need to constantly keep upgrading our equipment and keeping things up to date so that we aren't a completely hacked together program. We like to do a good job for you. We want to have great audio quality. We want to have a good program. We want to put it together the best way we can, and you help us do that. So any amount you're able to give, just feel free to give. PayPal over at twis.org. You can click on the buttons. It's super easy. We also have links for Patreon over there. And now, if you are a Patreon supporter and you want to keep track of all that, there is a Patreon app, and you can go to the Android store or the Google Play store, or you can go to the Apple store and get the Patreon app. You can do that. It's cool. Patreon, Patreon. Become our ongoing Patreoners. If you can't afford a donation, you can't afford to buy any stuff, I totally know how that goes. We can always use your help to get more people listening to the show, maybe even for little jobs that we need to get done for this show. Anything that you're able to do or any way you're able to help, let us know. Tell your friends. Tell us that you're telling your friends. Share us on social media. All of this helps grow the TWIS Minion crew and to bring more people into what we're doing, and it helps everything in the end. So use your social networks for science. We really could not do this without you. Thank you for your support.
For 3 easy installments of $10.95. The device he uses sucks out the bad juices and leaves no bad bruises. It simply deduces the proper percentage of X in your brain. This miracle cure leaves no permanent pain. And still, you can't believe what a skeptic I am. I can't believe you believe in that plan. We disagree, but I still give a damn.
And we're back with more This Week in Science.
Oh, yeah. Haha, it's Twissoween, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Justin, do you have any more scary stories for us?
I do. Actually, I'm going to start off, though. I'm going to start off with a less scary story. I feel like we should bring people back to the light for just a moment here. This is so we know we agree there are many really good reasons for exploring space. We talk about space all the time on this show. It's the backdrop here. What we learn about the evolution of the universe, galaxies, solar systems, planets, moons, perhaps life, beginnings of life, the origin of life, is enough to keep most of us interested in looking upwards with wonder and supporting the efforts to explore further. I say most of us, but maybe it's many of us. Sometimes I think the nation lacks the desire to continue the exploration properly. For the rest of the planet, perhaps this will be the reason to get them excited. There is a party going on in space, and we're missing it. According to observations by an international team, the discovery marks the first time ethyl alcohol, the same type as in alcoholic beverages, has been observed in a comet. The party I'm referring to earlier there is being hosted by Comet Lovejoy. And Lovejoy has an open bar waiting for anyone who shows up. Yes, this is Cody Voice. We found that Comet Lovejoy was releasing as much alcohol as in at least 500 bottles of wine every second during its peak activity. That's Nicholas Beaver of the Paris Observatory Franchise explains why the alcohol content is in units of wine, whereas in the U.S. it would have been units of whiskey or perhaps beer. The team found 21 different organic molecules in gas from the comet, including ethyl alcohol and glycolaldehyde, a simple sugar. So this finding, aside from this big party that's going on that we can't get to at the moment, this finding adds to evidence that comets could have been a source for complex organic molecules necessary in the emergence of life. Both the alcohol and the sugars, simple sugars, are those types of things, those types of organic complexes that we would require. So this is a frozen comet in our solar system that kind of came close to Comet Lovejoy. It was one of the brightest and most active comets since Comet Hale-Bopp back in '97. Lovejoy passed closest to the Sun January 30th, 2015, when it was releasing water at the rate of 20 tons per second. Whoa! The team observed the atmosphere of the comet around this time when it was the brightest and most active. They observed a microwave glow from the comet using the 30-meter, which is, I think, almost 100 feet. Diameter radio telescope at Pico Valletta in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Spain. So sunlight energizes molecules in the comet's atmosphere, creating the glow at a specific microwave frequency, and basically they did their spectrometry from there. So yeah, that's 500 bottles of wine a second. That's a pretty big. I managed to grab,
Equivalent of.
grab one, but there's more out there. So.
Yeah, forget about Mars. Let's go there instead.
Right? I know. Let's chase this comet around. Woo!
It's the party comet. More exciting party comet. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't have a party going on, but have you ever wanted to see through walls?
Yeah.
Yeah. And know
Definitely.
whether or not there were people on the other side of the wall. I mean, you hear things. You can listen and hear noises through a wall. You can put a glass up to a wall and kind of make out sounds a little bit more clearly. But
Kiki?
seeing
Kiki?
what? What?
How often have you done this? This seems like a very, very sort of strange, lonely behavior. I wouldn't have pegged you as somebody who was using a cup to listen in on the neighbors through the wall. But do continue.
know, I have to listen. I have to have a parent's hearing to listen to the sounds of my
There you go.
child
Yes,
in the
of
adjoining
course.
rooms. There we go.
Make
Yes.
sure they're asleep without opening the door and
course.
disturbing them. Yes.
But then if you were Superman, you just have X-ray vision and you could just see through.
Right. And
The
so
wall.
X-ray vision, that is the
Mhm.
thing that would be so awesome. And researchers at MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab, CSAIL, have been working. We've reported on this in the past about they've been working for a while to use Wi-Fi signals, so wireless signals to be able to see things through walls. And so
Uh-oh.
in the past, they've done stuff like used the Wi-Fi signals that are existing in a house to kind of see, kind of like radar, what those signals get interrupted by or bounce off of, and how, and kind of you can get an idea that there are people or things in different rooms. One of the ideas that we've talked about, I think a couple of years ago, related to this was the idea of a mother being able to, or a parent being able to monitor their child using this technology, just to see whether or not the child is breathing. Not whether or not the child's awake, but to be able to monitor the change in the chest volume of your child, sleeping child in another room, with wireless signals. So sensitive, it's so cool, but you have to apply all sorts of interesting algorithms to get any other interesting information, like what these researchers have just submitted to the SIGGRAPH conference in Asia that's going to be taking place next month, which is a new technology called RF capture, and they've been using this to pick up wireless reflections from the human body, so that they can see the silhouette of a human through a wall. And they use algorithms to determine the changes in those reflections to be able to get a good image of what the body of that person looks like. Such a good image that they could actually differentiate between individuals in a room.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
So,
They were-
highest and best uses of this.
So 15 different people they could differentiate between with nearly 90% accuracy.
It seems dangerous.
That is. No, are you kidding me?
Pretty cool, right?
How is this? Why does everybody go to, oh, new technology must be dangerous? All right, highest and best use. The first thing that jumps out is looking for survivors after
Oh, yeah.
some
No,
sort
that's
of,
great.
building collapse or
Yep.
an avalanche or something of this nature.
Or
the search and
being
rescue.
able to monitor people who are elderly to know whether or not they've fallen down.
Right.
Mm.
Or some sort of automated the use in prisons or as security checkpoints for like high-level laboratories or government military installations where somebody might have swiped the right ID card to get in, but their breathing pattern rhythms is all wrong. You know, something to have a reason to take another look. And then
Well, another cool thing is like another cool thing is smart houses. So instead of having a single sensor in the house, your house really will, like the Nest sensor, it has, a thing that you can walk in front of. It knows whether you're walking around the house when you pass by it. Otherwise, you still have to tell it what to do. But this would be just knowing whether or not there are people in the house at all. So you could have a smart house that could just respond because it knows there is somebody there.
our lore also says if you were looking for hostages, which made me think also if you were looking to see if there was anybody in a building that's on fire. Is there a reason to be sending firemen in, kicking down doors, looking for survivors if this technology could be applied to sort of scan a building.
Yeah, or this is less, I guess, practical and much more fun for the entertainment industry is right now we use motion capture in which the actors have to wear suits with little balls all over them.
Oh, yeah.
They're targets for the cameras to see that can then be used to animate figures. But could you imagine no suit necessary?
Yeah.
That this RF capture could just capture the silhouette of a person, and it would be animated from there.
Yeah. I was thinking even less exciting than that. Just sensors for lights in buildings. There's so many problems with us trying to do that still with automatic sensors for lights, where they go off when you're still in the room and then you have to go like this to make it start again. Or they have to wait a very long time before the lights go off after you leave. And this would just be no human signatures in the room, lights off. Human signatures in the room, lights on.
Right.
Also good for
Exactly.
stalking your ex. Let's just put that out there too.
Yeah.
That's the,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting idea, and it's just based off of the fact that it's kind of like like X-rays, different tissues have different reflectances of radio frequency signals, and so of different radio frequencies, and so they can use that to their advantage to be able to develop these images, and then with algorithms that measure motion, be able to get these fuller picture of what somebody looks like. It's not perfect yet, but it is still getting there. It's under development. It's enough to know that there are people and that they are different.
Nice.
Seeing through walls. We're seeing through walls, you guys.
Wow.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
All of us can be Superman.
Which means none of us are Superman.
Waha,
that would
touche.
become the new normal.
All right, Justin, tell me another story.
I've got a story about the Black Plague.
I don't like that.
Well,
Rats.
No.
It was the rat's fault.
so actually, it's usually blamed on a flea.
It was the flea on the rat.
as the main vector, right? Flea
And
on
the-
the rat.
and
The rat.
And the
right.
toad in the hole, and the hole in the log, and the log.
So when was the Black Plague? When did this take place? According to history, if you believe in such things, the Black Plague was really the culprit behind the 6th century's Plague of Justinian, who quickly named it the Black Death. Actually, the Black Death came much after Justinian, but thankfully it's not known as the Plague of Justinian anymore. It's known as the Black Death, which killed 30 to 50% of the European population in the mid-1300s. Was the this was no, I'm sorry, it was the Plague of Justinian 6th century, and then it comes up again the mid-1300s. Third pandemic, it goes to China in the 1850s, and this is pretty much why pestis is the notorious culprit behind it all. It's known to have been flea-borne. This is how it
Right.
sort of was the main vector. This is how it traveled around. Well, researchers have since been looking into this and find that this particular plague might have been common in humans 3,300 years earlier.
Wow.
But what's sort of interesting...
Common. So not just like a plague and something that bursts up and affects everybody, but something that's common.
Common, but also the plague was rather common. But what happened was this white pestis had this sort of strange mutation that actually prevented it from being flea-borne, whereas a lot of others would sort of plague-type things could have easily gone to fleas. But it took this evolution, this step of its little phalangia, to get into the fleas, and they've sort of tracked the evolution of white pestis back so that they can see it actually had to evolve the ability to be flea-borne, which is developed into the plagues that we now know. But because they've sort of been able to backtrack some really, really old Eurasian individuals, some of the Bronze Age, where they found white pestis was involved, they now have to go back and look at a lot of human migration and a lot of human history and say, okay, we didn't think the plague really existed yet, right? But there were smaller plagues, there were smaller outbreaks that we hadn't had identified. But what if it is this same plague that keeps affecting mankind throughout time? And it may have been involved in a lot of our early migration. We tend to think of migration as being a large population doing well, spilling out to find more resources. But there's also an opportunity for plague to have been the driver to leave an area. If everybody is dying at large rates, it's a good reason to start looking elsewhere to live. And there's been a few examples of this. At the fall of the Roman Empire, there was a plague that broke out that hadn't yet been identified, and there was a lot of migration that took place out of Rome and out of Roman-controlled territories during this period. So the lesson from this, though, is we can stop blaming the flea for the Black Plague, because apparently it got it from us.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We had it first.
We were the vector's vector.
Once again, it's our fault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. So going back from, I don't know, ancient Rome to Greece, let's talk about a Greek philosopher named Zeno. Zeno, who you might understand or remember or find familiar from the Zeno's paradox, in which the idea of you never quite get to a point because you're constantly going smaller and smaller and smaller distances. It was very similar to something that another philosopher came up with, and so there's debates as to who came up with it first, but yeah, whatever. But anyway, Zeno came up with another idea, which is the name has been taken for some quantum mechanics understanding. And so the Zeno effect, in effect, is this idea that we don't move. And this came about when Zeno was trying to prove a hypothesis that was kind of the opposite of the popular hypothesis of the day, that was, we move, time moves, everything moves, we're all moving, and trying to prove that we move. And he said, well, no, I'll prove the opposite. We don't move. And so his idea comes down to the idea of every moment is an instant in which we are not moving. And so it's just like a
Stop motion.
Like stop motion. So
Yeah.
somehow we get between these frames, but in reality, at any instant that you could measure, we're not moving. So how does this relate to quantum physics? Well, researchers in 1977, George Sudarshan and Baidyanath Mirza at the University of Texas, Austin, coined the quantum Zeno effect and pointed out this idea that quantum systems tend to be frozen when we measure them, right? There's this whole idea of things not changing once we're observing it. Heisenberg's principle comes out of this. If you look in the box, you find out whether or not the cat is alive or dead, right? But until you look, until you observe it, it could be anything. And we know that quantum particles, atoms, can tunnel from one location to another. And they're not necessarily in one location or another at any given time. They could be in any. But we do know they tunnel. We do know they move, because we see where they go when we observe. And so researchers at Cornell University have come up with this really ingenious way to look at quantum systems, and have actually, for the first time, almost pretty much proven Zeno's effect, the quantum Zeno effect. They took a billion atoms, I think it's rubidium atoms, and they put them in a vacuum chamber, and they sucked the air out, and they super cooled it. So they're just really, really cold. And when things get really cold, they stop moving. Or they get really close to not moving anymore. Except these being atoms, even though they're in a crystalline lattice of sorts, they're still tunneling from point to point within that lattice and kind of changing positions and doing things and still moving, even though the overall macro structure is not moving around or changing. And so the researchers then used a laser to shine at different strengths, different amounts of power at these atoms to get them to reflect. And if it was really low power and dark, then they didn't get any visible light off of the atoms. But the brighter they shone the laser, the more light came off of them. And so it was this like a quick flashlight onto a robber in your house, right? You've got a flashlight, and if you're moving that flashlight really slowly, that robber is still creeping around your house trying to steal things, right? But if you can get that flashlight on the robber really fast, the robber's going to freeze and hope that it can be like a chameleon and not be noticed in your house.
Your flashlight is a high-powered laser.
Laser!
Well, think
For
about
just a few seconds.
think about a strobe light, though. If
Yes.
you watch a strobe light on somebody, it's freeze frames that you see. You don't see movement.
Yes. And so what it's kind of like this. And basically when the atoms fluoresced and like put light out and a microscope was able to capture the flashes of light, they actually saw a reduction in the amount of atomic tunneling. So the strength of the laser beam, how brightly it was shining on these atoms, whether it was dim or bright, determined the amount of tunneling that was detected. So basically, how strongly they were looking at this lattice of atoms determined whether or not that lattice was completely still or whether those atoms were still secretly tunneling from spot to spot. And it's one of the first demonstrations of this. And there have been people, I think Jennifer Ouellette wrote for Gizmodo a while back about this and likened it to the weeping angels of Doctor Who as well. If you don't look at them, they're moving around, but look at them, and they freeze. Yeah, Blair, did you have a story?
Yes, I have an adorable story about babies, you guys.
Aw, it's not a scary story about
It's not
babies.
scary at all.
I am not
unless,
going on until I hear, aha.
Unless you're afraid of singing.
Wait. Should I be afraid of you singing right now while you have a cold?
You definitely should. So a new study shows that babies become distressed twice as fast when listening to speech compared to song. And this was done in Montreal, and they used people speaking and singing in Turkish, and they used unfamiliar songs, and they also did people in the room versus people on a recording versus the mother, and in all of those cases, the infants stayed calm twice as long when listening to the song versus listening to the speech. The scientists' theory here is that they are entertained by the tune, but because infants don't have the coordination to synchronize external behavior with the music by drumming their feet, tapping their feet, drumming, head nodding, swaying back and forth. They can't do any of those things, but they are actually being engaged mentally. We just can't tell it physically by looking at them. And that is what's keeping them from becoming distressed. So that's the theory of these scientists. It's also possible that something about the melody is actually calming or triggers some sort of hormone response. That's what I personally would think, is that something to do with the song actually has an effect on our brain and releases some sort of calming sensation. That would be my guess. But, all they know from this study is that singing to a baby keeps it calm longer. So their extrapolation from that is that if you can get past however much you don't like your own voice, which I know a lot of people don't like to sing, or they feel self-conscious about their singing, that singing to your baby can actually keep them from being distressed. And that even beyond that, if you don't want to sing yourself, play music that has a vocal part to the babies. And they're saying particularly in at-risk homes, when parents are more likely to act in a less than desirable way to a baby that is upset or crying, that playing vocal music to that baby can have benefits to both parties, because the baby will start crying less soon, and then also if they actually start singing to the baby themselves, that creates a bond between the two. So sing to your baby.
Sing to your baby, yeah. And I think this is interesting because I think there's been suggestions that in learning to speak after a baby is just a little baby, but as it gets older, that sing-songy voices, so that kind of googly 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 goo, you know, when you're talking to a baby and speaking in a very dynamic vocal way to a baby can help them pick up on speech sooner.
Yes, that's true. But an interesting element of this study, though, is that they did test baby talk versus normal talk, and they found almost no difference.
That's interesting.
I think there was a slight increase with the baby talk, but it was pretty negligible. So they say that more studies need to be done to figure that out, whether the baby talk actually had much of a impact on it.
Yeah. As a father of three, I've sung to all my children as babies, as infants, as small children, and I have found once they become a teenager, they'll just tell you to stop.
Yep. Yes, that's true. You should stop
at some point. At some point, they'll be like, okay, stop.
That's enough, Dad. Oh, I think this show is about to stop. I think we have
dead. We killed it.
We twist-a-weened it to death. That's right. Twist-a-ween. It comes once a year. Our favorite week of the year. Well, one of them. I think, I don't know, every week's my favorite week of the year. If it has to do with twists.
No.
I'm all sappy. This week also, though, is National Bat Week, and it goes until November 1st. Find people around the country that, with the Organization for Bat Conservation and Bat Conservation International and the U.S. Forest Service if you want to find out more about bats and see how you can help bats in your local area. And aside from that, this is the time when I say thank you to all our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to Kevin Dodler. Let's start that over. Thank you to Kevin Donald Wesley Ballard, John Ratnaswamy, Steve DeBell, Rudy Garcia, Gerald Sorrells, Greg Guthman, Dave Neighbor, Jason Dozier, Matthew Litwin, Eric Knapp, Jason Roberts, Patrick Cohn, Shannon Tara Ginsberg, Richard Onemus, Byron Lee, E.O., Bob Calder, Jared Lysette, Ulysses Adkins, Brian Condren, Jake Jones, Trainer 84, Kati, Edvardus Rumkiss, Brian Hedrick, Cassie Lester, Sarah Chavez, Steven Soroyak, Layla, Marshall Clark, Charlene Davidson Henry, Don Kamarechka, Larry Garcia, Randy Mazuka, Tony Steele, Dave Friedel, Daryl Lambert, Kevin Parachan, Robert Aston, Shuwada, Stephen B., Dave Wilkinson, Steve Mashinsky, Phil Clark, Rodney Lewis, Braxton Howard, Phil Nadeau, Rick Ramus, Solgood Sam, Matt Sutter, Emma Grenier, Philip Shane, James Dobson, Steve Goodwin, Kurt Larson, Stefan Insom, Michael George, Craig Landon, Russell Jensen, Mountain Sloth, Jim Drapeau, Tara Payne, Alex Wilson, John H. Maloney, Jason Olds, James Noah Wiles, Paul West, Alec Doty, Iluma Lama, Joe Wheel, Dougal Campbell, TMRO, Miko Pakala, Craig Porter, Adam Mishkan, Aaron Luthen, Marjorie, Paul Stanton, Scott Lajewski, David Simmerly, Tyler Harrison, Ben Rothig, Colombo Ahmed, and Gary Swinsberg. Thank you for all your support on Patreon, and if you're interested in supporting us, you can find information at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Also remember that you can help us out simply by telling your friends about TWIS. Between now and next week, we will also have a calendar, so be on the lookout for our calendar link going out, either on our website or a link on our website or out through social media once we get those details all set up. But there is a calendar for 2016 coming from TWIS, so save your calendar monies. Do it. On next week's show, once again, we will be broadcasting live online, 8 p.m. Pacific time. TWIS.org/live is where you can watch and join our chat room, but don't worry if you can't make it. We got our RSS feed and all that up. You can find past video episodes at TWIS.org/YouTube, or just go to TWIS.org.
Thank you, everyone, for enjoying the show. TWIS is also available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, and we should pop right up. Also, if you have one of those mobile devices, you can look for TWIS for Droid in the Android marketplace, or for simply This Week in Science in anything Apple marketplacey.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website. That's www.twis.org. That's TWIS.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts as well as other listeners.
Or you can contact us directly. Email Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twist.org. Just put TWIS, TWIS, somewhere in the subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into oblivion.
Whoa.
You can also hit us up on the Twitter, where we are at TWIScience, at Dr. Kiki, at JacksonFly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, a haiku that comes to you in the night, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for more great science news.
And if you've learned anything from today's show, remember,
It's all in your head.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth, and I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer, and it shouldn't be news, that what I say may not represent your views, but I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just better understand that we're not trying to threaten your philosophy. We're just trying to save the world from jeopardy. Jeopardy. And This Week in Science is coming your way. So everybody listen to everything we say. And if you use our method instead of rolling a die, we may rid the world of toxoplasma gondii. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got a laundry list of items I want to address, from stopping global hunger to dredging Loch Ness. I'm trying to promote more rational thought, and I'll try to answer any question you've got. But how can I ever see the changes I seek when I can only set up shop 1 hour a week? This Week in Science is coming your way. You better just listen to what we say, and if you've learned anything from the words that we've said, then please just remember it's all in your head. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science.
This week in science, science, science. This week in science, this week in 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 science.
It's time for the after show.
You're scary.
Cousin Food. I got hair on my face.
A little bit. Just
Little
right there.
Cousin
right
It.
there.
Cousin It must have been hot all the time. Man. My hair's hot. It's making me sweat here. My hair making me sweat. There we go. That's better. I'm a little blown out now. Wow. What just happened? I did not change my lighting at all. Oh, my arm blocked my white balance. Watch. Where does it block it? There? Yeah. That jacket there in the back?
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
your
white balance.
I don't have a white balance. Maybe that's why mine is so messed up. I like put a tissue right here.
That's right. Put a tissue up. See how it works. It's constant.
Just curious. Does it make a difference? Not really.
Not really. Interesting.
Post-Halloween show. All right, I want to show this off.
Pre-Halloween. Next week is post-Halloween.
Pre-Halloween.
What?
Yeah, you're right. This is okay. This is my new favorite kit. It's can you tell what kind of bird this is?
That's a wine opener.
It's a wine opener.
Yeah.
But right, look here. It could be a dove. It could be a blackbird. Right? Oh wait, no. Scrub jay.
No, it is. It's
Pheasant.
more like the scrub.
That's a pheasant.
Yeah.
That's more like a pheasant. Yeah. So the scrub jay, that was more like a Steller's jay.
A Steller's jay. Thank you.
Steller's jay. Mm-hmm. The other ones, they're dark blue and they have like the black crest on top of their head. But you just know that your wine opener really is the bird of peace, because it's going to open the wine and make you feel more peaceful.
That's right. I'm doing a bird walk tomorrow morning. Oh, I'm gonna get.
I'm jealous. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So I didn't do a costume tonight. But I did.
You were like, oh, costumes.
Well, I didn't do. I did
go
costumes.
I'm just gonna be Jeff Goldblum again.
I did go to a house of horrors today of sorts. In the spirit of Halloween, I visited the dentist to find out exactly all what work I could possibly need to have done.
I thought you were gonna say a GOP voting office, but
No, that's where I go for comedy relief.
Okay.
You got it mistaken. I'm not terrified by that at all. In fact, actually, that's greatly reassuring on some comedic level.
I'm terrified because I'm a woman.
I completely missed the GOP debate tonight.
I don't even.
I know my son decided to watch the Sword and the Stone, and I kind of think that we could almost do something similar in our own democracy these days. We just put a sword in a stone, and whoever can pull it out gets to be president.
Sounds good.
That was fine. I mean, the way that people were fighting over it and everything, it was kind of like the last GOP debate, so I don't know.
I of course, being a bit of a political junkie, will be watching. It's the repeated versions of it infinitum. I'll sit through it. Probably with this bottle of wine after the show tonight.
You guys, my binocs are broken.
Oh no! It's no good to have
No,
broken
I think just there's nothing too far in my room. There's nothing far enough.
nothing
Excuse
far
me.
enough. Yeah. They're better at focusing far. Are you looking for birds? You look like you're looking for birds in your room.
Ed
They're everywhere, you guys. They're everywhere. I think there's something bad in my cold medicine because they're everywhere.
Ed is reminding me that we're back on schedule for Minion Hangout. It's going to be a Google Hangout thing that can be watched starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern times
Awesome.
tomorrow.
And you can go to Science Island. Is it scienceisland.com? You can
Listen.
find it there. The live link is there, which is great. You can just watch it there at Science Island. Thanks, Ed. Ed says I did a great job with the stories peeking between my hair. I couldn't read anything. I was struggling to find my mouse to be able to click on the right things on the screen to keep things moving. That was pretty funny. I'm like, let's see what I can do. Let's with my hair in my face. I now completely sympathize with Cousin It for sure. Yeah. Oh, someone says Arnlore is saying about House of Horrors visit the Creation Museum. Something else that's really interesting. ScienceIsland.org. Thanks, Arnlore. ScienceIsland.org. Science Island chat. That's where you can go for that Minion Hangout. But another story that I read this week that is kind of related to the Creation Museum. You know the Hobby Lobby. It's the Hobby Lobby, right? That's the hobby store. The hobby store that didn't want to give women contraception, and so has been fighting against that for religious beliefs exemption and everything. Well, it turns out they just got like in super big trouble from, I believe, the FBI. I might have that part of it wrong, but they just got smacked for basically stealing historical relics from the Middle East because they have been buying and collecting items to create a biblical museum. And the shipment was found in which there were something like 300 or 500 ancient stone tablets on which there's cuneiform writing. And these old stone tablets that have been taken. So basically, Hobby Lobby is stealing.
Likely taken from Syria.
Likely taken from Syria, and likely funding ISIS.
Yes.
So
Hobby Lobby. Well, actually, now, Kiki, this should not be that big of a brain bender.
Okay.
If you look at the core philosophies.
They weren't supposed to steal. They're stealing historical artifacts.
Core philosophies of ISIS and Hobby Lobby.
Oh, they're aligned. They're aligned.
They
Yeah.
have much more in common than you and I with either.
Yeah. Well, that one was interesting, though. Hello. Oh, Whiskey Renegade. It could have been a Wookiee costume, too, I guess. Nah, Cousin It. Yeah, who knows? I just thought that was a really interesting twist to the story at this point in time.
Boo earns.
Yeah, so what do we need to do with the calendar at this point, Blair?
We have to figure out which dates we're going to put on the calendar. Like, for example, I don't have Justin's birthday.
Okay, we need Justin. December 21st. No, December 11th.
Oh, that's right. It's the day before mine. I totally forgot.
Yeah, December 11th. Is that right? December.
Justin, you're gonna have to
10th?
What do we
say here.
Wait, I made you. Everything was frozen for a moment, so I
Your
lost the premise.
birthday is December 11th.
Correct.
December 11th. I remembered that.
Yeah, very well done.
Good job, Kiki. You're a better man than I. Okay, so here's the thing. So we have to figure out. So first of all, we have to decide if this list of items for the calendar is enough. I mean, it's a lot. Like, I probably won't use it all. but is it covering enough things? And I guess what I'll do is I'll just
Wait,
Did you get that too?
Yeah, you just went
What?
into some sort of robot rap. What I need to find is.
That was wild.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky
So-
internet frame dropping.
Okay, December 11 is Justin. Okay, so we need to decide if there's enough things on the list of things, which I think there's a lot.
There's
the question
plenty,
is,
yeah.
have we covered all of the different types of things? And then
That's right.
I'm going to put these things in. I'm going to have to make the executive decision if there's too many things on 1 month. Like, we don't want it splattered with these things. And then if there's some months where there's almost nothing, then I'll have to do a Google search and try to find other things that belong in that month. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I guess if I was to create a suggestion, which
Yes.
I often do,
You
I
would
would
want something on every single day.
No. But I think it would be cool to have something for every week. And the reason I say this is because then we could announce which thing of the week it was, which thing that week it was, that like how we did a Halloween show today.
Right.
We could also at least mention that it's, invertebrate sex week or whatever.
That's so mean. There's no such thing as invertebrate sex week, is there?
Not yet, but maybe we could find out the first week that Blair did invertebrate sex stories on the show and start it.
Oh, I would have to leave that to you or the minions, because there's no way I can figure that out.
Yeah, just look at your first couple of shows. It was probably the second
I'd have
or
to get
third.
into the wiki, or I'd have to search the TWIS site. I guess.
I would say it might be rough if there was more than one per week. But I think if we had 52 things throughout the thing,
Which I don't think we do. Here, I'll bring it. I'll bring it up.
We don't have
can look at it.
We have 35.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's good.
And then do we want to put TWIS live every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. and then omit some, or?
No, because then we're gonna change our time slot like the third week of the new year.
Right? What if we did? And we're like, oops.
So we just don't want to do that.
Wrong,
But it is a twist calendar, so I don't know. You guys, minions,
that's a good point.
chat room. What do you think we should do? Should we? I think maybe we should put it every Wednesday. We should look at the calendar right now.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so I might turn into a Cylon again because I'm gonna open up my calendar right now.
yeah. Okay. So right now I'm gonna give insights. I don't want insights. I want to hit this link, and I'm going to put it in the chat room. So you guys in the chat, you can click on the link to the Google Doc if you would like, and I don't know, see what you think. I think we got some good ones in there.
Yes. There's a million animal holidays, so I didn't feel like it was worth going in and adding in Wombat Day and Tapir Day and Guinea Pig Day and like Tree Frog Day. They all exist. So the question is like, is that worth doing or not? So, for example, we will have, I might write, January 6th will be our prediction show, right? Or is that, what did we decide? I can't remember now.
No, that's not what I wanted. Oh wait, who?
We decided that Tuesday the 22nd of December we would do TWIS, and that would be the recap.
Yeah, let me get back into my December. Come back, mini calendar, December. Yeah. So,
okay, Identity 4. I can add Wombat Day in if you want.
So the 22nd of December will be our year in review.
Okay, year in review.
Whoa, how did I end up in May all of a sudden? Whoopsie. And then the 29th will be our prediction show.
Instead of the 30th?
Oh, sorry, the 30th. The 23rd,
Okay.
the 23rd and the 30th.
Okay.
That's what it is. The
So
23rd. Oh, did we decide that we're doing it the 22nd because
Yes, because I have my high school reunion on the 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
TWIS predictions will
Okay.
be.
I'm going to move you there.
Save for this event only. Okay. So then the 30th is TWIS predictions. So
Kiki,
then,
I know you're just thinking, but you're also pig nosing.
I know.
so then,
This is
for
how I think.
example,
It helps me think.
okay. So for example,
This is the show where I don't really care how I look. I put my hair in my
how
face.
dare you?
They took digital pictures of all my teeth, as well as x-rays and everything else today. But when we pulled up all the pictures of the teeth, I was so fixated on the amount of hair in my nose, because it was like a total nose upshot on it. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. It's like, yes, you can see plaque buildup. I'm like, no, not the teeth. Teeth are fine. That's what they always look like. But look at that nose. Oh, there's bogeys up there. If I'd known you were looking at my nose, I'd have brushed that.
So, you guys, I did put National Panda Day on there. That's March 16th. And then someone else put Squirrel Day on there. Squirrel Appreciation Day, January 21st.
Oh, wait. What's January 21st? So Panda Day?
January 21st is Squirrel Appreciation Day.
Right.
And National Panda Day is March 16th.
Oh, we need to have National Panda Day.
Yeah, I know it'll be on there.
Can I have, possibly, can we put, like, a couple of famous scientists' birthdays?
Yeah, you put it in there. Go.
Oh, I don't know how to do things. So
She
they
just
won't happen.
put the invitation in there.
I just put the link in the chat room.
Look in the chat room, timestamp 2143.
Oh, that thing.
I'm trying to figure out, can somebody figure out how to sort this column, how to sort it so it just goes by the months by month? That's not gonna. It's just doing A to Z or Z to A.
I bet you can do it.
Damn you! Yeah,
You can do it by month, I'm sure, pretty easily.
That's what I'm trying to figure out how to do.
That's all right. You can just alphabetize it too, and I can figure it out that way.
Yeah.
So this is my
maybe
question.
not.
The very first TWIS of the year, January 6th, will be just a normal TWIS, right?
No, the very first twist of the year is going to be in New York City.
Right.
And
Wait,
Okay.
is it we're there
and-
the 6th?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
No,
no,
the
but,
seventh.
we're,
We're there
but
the
it's
7th.
Thursday. It's Thursday the 7th.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so there's no TWIS on the 6th. See, this is important. And then
Yeah.
the 7th is TWIS in New York. So what time is that at? Do we know yet?
9 o'clock-ish at night?
We don't know yet, right?
10 p.m. Eastern time.
Are we sure about that?
I
Pretty
think
sure,
That sounds
yeah.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep. Pretty
So
sure.
I'm going to edit and say 10 p.m. EST.
EST.
Okay,
Or you can say 10 p.m. EST because we're going to be in New York City.
right.
I think is fine.
So then, January 13th, Wednesday, January 13th, is a normal TWIS.
Somebody put in Tesla's birthday. Somebody's got to put Tesla's birthday in there, because that's my favorite.
You do that.
I don't know how to do things with buttons and pushing stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So, Wednesday, January 13th, normal TWIS.
And then yes, the following week, January the 13th, normal.
Normal TWIS. Wednesday, the 20th, normal TWIS. Wednesday, January 27th, normal TWIS.
Normal twists.
I don't like the sound of this.
Wednesday, February 3rd, TWIS.
Yeah, let's call it Epic Twist.
3rd, 10th,
Say-
17th, 24th,
17th,
all
24th.
the way through February should be normally epic.
Epic Twist.
Normally epic TWIS.
March.
good. We're not worried about any
March.
holidays in March.
Nope.
Okay,
don't
March
think
looks
so.
good. Wednesday, April 6th is good. 13th is good. Oh, do we want to do anything about Valentine's Day?
Yeah, so usually, let's go back. So back to February.
February 10th?
February 10th is right before Darwin's birthday, which is the 12th, and then there's also, and we usually do something related to Valentine's Day around then also. Some years we are
TWIS
much
Love
closer.
Fest.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. TWIS Love Fest, February 10th. Okay. If anyone thinks of a more clever name for that, let me know. Okay, so we're back now in April. Do we want to do anything for the solstice? Or no, the equinox.
Yes. Equinox.
When is that?
The equinox should be, let's see, January, February, March
Oh, is it March?
21st.
It's not in my calendar here. Oh, daylight savings time is March 13th, so it's probably near then.
Sunday, March 20th is the spring equinox.
Okay.
Spring time change.
Are you writing these
is-
down in the thing?
What? No, I'm just reading them out.
Okay, that's fine. I'm writing things down here. So do we want to do something for that and or April Fools and or Earth Day? Because those are all kind of close together.
Right. March 20th also happens to be the International Day of Happiness.
Okay.
Which I did put in the calendar.
Okay. So you want to do a special twist around any of those things? Equinox, April Fools, Earth Day.
Earth Day.
Okay.
April
Okay.
Fool's Earth Day. Tricks
Well,
on
those are like
us.
almost a month apart.
Okay. Yeah, Earth Day.
So let's do on 4/20 Earth Day.
Nice.
Twist goes green. In
Yeah,
more ways than
Oh,
one.
what are you writing down? Are you just writing down special twist shows?
Yes. And we're also
Um,
going through just making sure all the twists are going to happen.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's good enough. Okay, and then
That
let's
cannot
see.
be how you spell February.
February.
Yes.
That's just.
Oh, may the 4th be with you. Oh my God, Star Wars Day is a twist day.
Oh, it is. Nice.
Awesome.
May
the 4th.
4th be with you. Okay. Save for this event only. Let's see. Okay. So we're all the way in May. We're making progress, guys. Thank you for your patience.
I'm still in March. You're doing awesome.
Okay, May 11th, there's regular, awesome, amazing twists. May 18th,
Oh,
May
you know what?
25th,
I don't want to do that.
Memorial Day, we don't have to worry about, right? Wednesday, June 1st, Wednesday, June 8th.
Let's see. Wednesday, the 18th of May, is Marshall's
We
birthday,
have
so
Friday in there.
Okay,
I'll probably have to take that off.
okay. Do you want to...
But the show can go on, so it doesn't
Okay, you
matter.
don't want to do a bye week then?
A what?
Bye week?
A bye week?
Yeah, that's a sports term.
Just let it go.
Just not have it that week, like sports teams do. No? Okay, great.
No, you guys do it.
Okay, 25th of May, 1st of June, 8th of
Oh,
June.
the 25th. Wait, the 25th. 25th. That's Towel Day.
Okay. What do you want me to write? Don't forget your towel?
Don't forget your towel.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so June 1st. It's fine. June 8th. Bless you. June 15th. Then it's Father's Day. Do we want to do a Father's Day episode of TWIS? Oh, do we want to do mothers and fathers? Oh my goodness.
Oh, what happened to the numbers that someone was entering? Did that work? Were we going to do that?
What?
Somebody was entering numbers for the months. and I could have sorted by number. I'll do that later. I saw someone doing that. I could fix that later. Okay, what?
Mother's Day and Father's Day. Do we care about those?
No.
Okay. Great. Good answer.
June 8th is World Oceans Day.
Yup, and that's a TWIS day.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking for. So we'll do an ocean-themed show.
Great. Should be easy to do. Let's see, the 15th, 22nd, 29th, July 6th. That's far enough away from July 4th. We don't have to worry about that, right?
No. Yep.
Okay. 13th, 20th, 27th, August 3rd, August 10th.
It's just right after my birthday. I don't think there's anything else in the calendar for August.
Okay, August 17th, August 24th, August 31st. September 7th is after Labor Day. We don't care about that, right? September 14th. September
anything
21st.
What happened?
What did happen?
Who deleted the table?
Who deleted it?
Who did it?
Oh, dear Lord. Sorry.
Oh, no. What happened?
I don't know.
Somebody just panicked and left.
They're like, I'm out of here. Here, we can revert. They're going to go, how do we go back history-wise? There's a, can we do a Control-Z? No. Only for minor changes. Let's see.
Oh, my God.
File. See revision history. Here we go.
That's hilarious.
It's the most recent one. And now, that's what I want.
Damn you, North Korea.
Right, so I have this. Oh, wait, someone made pivot table 2. What's that? Whoa. Wow, I see what somebody's doing. Somebody made a crazy table out of everything.
Oh, so maybe we shouldn't mess with
identity. It's identity 4. Look at these. That's me. I'll fix it.
Oh, yeah, it all showed up again. Oh, my God, identity 4. Okay, so we're in September.
Appeared again. Where'd it go?
September, October is the 5th, then the 12th, then the 19th,
Still can't find everything.
then the 26th. So we'll have Twissoween on the 26th, right?
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to the calendar. You're moving forward. I'm still worried. I still can't see what's going on. So I'm still stuck in September. October 5th, 19th, 26th.
Yeah, so Twissoween will be the 26th.
Right.
Wait, should I move over to table 2? Right, I lost that option. Yeah. No?
It disappeared again.
It's coming back. It's coming back. Don't worry about it. Nope. Wait. Nope. Yep. Nope.
Yep,
Where'd it
it's
go?
back. Yep.
It was there for a second, then it disappeared again.
Okay,
How
anyway.
weird.
We'll just not look at it right now. It's fine. Okay, so Twissoween is the 26th. Then November 2nd should be fine. November 9th. November 16th. '23rd. Okay, so what about the day before Thanksgiving? Are we doing that this year?
Oh,
I can't remember.
Oh, wait. What do I have? We probably could do the show. I think I have something
I don't know when that is.
at Kai's school that night. No, maybe I don't.
I could go either way.
Oh,
If
wait.
I'm doing it, I'll probably be doing it from my parents'
Oh,
house.
I'm not looking at the right. I'm like looking at the right year. So next year,
I could
the
totally do it.
23rd, the Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say
That's next year. Oh gosh. You guys
So
are
the
next
2016.
year.
Yeah.
Next year, Thanksgiving's going to be with my dad. I don't know if he's going to come here or make me go to San Francisco. I might be driving. Let's just say
Say yes. Say yes.
I'm okay with saying no because we so far have not taken a single one off, and it's November.
That's
Well-
fine. I would say just plunk them where they land, and we're going to be updating if something comes up. Right? Like, maybe I'm the odd one out here that cannot plan a week, let alone a month in advance for things usually. But this is over a year ahead.
I understand.
And this frightens me that we would even say.
Then don't listen. Let's
not
Kiki
when-
sidebar. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say let's just put it in and then we'll cancel it if we
Okay.
want to.
Oh, what do you mean?
always
Look how easy that was. I was saying the exact same thing, Kiki.
I know
and
you
she's like,
were.
oh no, and then she said, and then you're like, yeah, let's do it.
Well,
She's like, cool.
A.
Okay, I'll be
He's
right
the
back.
boss.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I know these.
Okay. Anyway, okay, November 30th is fine. December 7th. Oh, look, my 30th birthday. That's terrifying. December 14th.
Oh, it's broken. That's wild.
When is the winter solstice? Next year.
Would be December 20th or 21st, right?
Yeah. Because the 21st is...
I think December 22nd.
Okay.
Next year.
So let's talk about next year, end of December. So we have the year in review comes first, and then the prediction show is the next week, right? So the two shows before the new year are the 21st and the 28th. What say you?
I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by things. So, 2221. Let's see, the 25th is on Sunday, which is great.
Right.
It's in the middle of everything. So that way we can do the. I like the review show on the 28th.
Okay.
And the
predictions
prediction
on-
show for the 4th.
Oh, okay. Okay, 28th. Because I'm not having a January year in this calendar, so it'll just end with the 28th.
Okay.
So the 28th is year in review?
What? Yeah, year in review. Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So what do you want on this tiny little square? This is the other thing I wanted to ask. What do you want on this tiny little square on the calendar? Do you just want to say TWIS live 8 p.m. PST? Do you want it to say... Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I'm getting focused on the spreadsheet. What do you want? What do I want to say? What?
What do you want it to say in that tiny little square? Do you want it to say TWIS live 8 p.m. PST and then say TWIS live year in review 8 p.m. PST? Like, what do you want it to say? Do you want it to say this week in science live? You want to squeeze that in there?
Just say TWIS year in review 8 p.m. PST.
Okay, so 8 p.m. PST. So then on weeks that's just normal TWIS, what do you want it to say? TWIS 8 p.m. PST?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. I can do that. Or maybe I'll look at see how it fits. Maybe the weeks that it's just normal show, I can write this week in science 8 p.m. PST. Do you want me to see if it'll fit, or do you like TWIS better?
Just put TWIS, I think.
Okay.
I mean, the boxes
Okay.
aren't that big, and I
Yeah.
think that'll be fine.
So I'm leaving work early tomorrow, getting in bed, and working on this in bed. That's my plan. So I asked for the code, by the way, the shipping code, and I can get it and send it to you. That's totally fine, but it expires in 48 hours. So she said, just email me as soon as you're ready to make the order, and I'll send it to you right away.
Okay.
So I will work on getting these dates in there, and then I think we're ready. Right? I
Cool.
mean, what
Yeah.
else do we have to do? I think that's it.
I don't think we need to do anything. Get the dates in
Okay.
there, and
Yeah.
then
And then it's just about figuring out how we're taking orders and who it's getting shipped to. So
yeah.
I am happy, as I live 4 blocks from a post office, to take this on if you think it's worth it for it to come to me. I don't know if you would rather do it. I'm happy to have you do it, but if it would help you for me to do it, I can accept the shipment too.
Okay. Let me think about that, and
Yeah.
we'll do that. I'll sleep on it.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, it might be worth it then to get like a free trial of stamps.com or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are all things to be considered. But as I do live, like I said, 4 blocks from a post office, I feel like I could probably just make it my business to go there like once a week until the end of the year and
Yeah.
get that done. So
What is going
I don't know.
on here?
So that's the only other thing. Once I get all of the events in there, we have to figure out where it's getting shipped to. And then I think we're done, right?
Is it back for you? It's
Yes,
back.
It's back. Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
came back. Either I did it or someone else did it, but it's magic. It's back. Save. Conditional formatting. That's what I clicked on. Weird.
Uh-oh.
That's weird.
It's a pivot table. Oh my god.
Yeah, we don't need that.
I don't like that at all. Hurt my brain. So I'm just going to take all of these dates.
And Arnlar got it. Of course. Of course Arnlar got it.
Got what?
Arnlar fixed it.
Oh, of course he did. So I'm going to take all these dates, put them all on the calendar. If it looks like they're all over the place, there's a lot in one area, I'll make some executive decisions. And then I'll add in the TWIS tapings, and otherwise, then I'll just let you know we're ready to go. You'll let me know when you're like available in the next 24 hours to make the order, and then I will ask for the code.
Okay. Sounds good.
And bottom line, if like weirdness happens and I need to make the order, I have credit cards and I can be reimbursed. It's not the end of the world.
All right. And I know how to reimburse you. We can do that.
We have a process for that
We have
now.
a process. Yes. Let's see. Okay. This Wednesday the 25th, I will probably, be able to do TWIS.
Okay. Where's today? Okay. So
As of now, the plan is to do TWIS on Wednesday the 25th.
great. I will be in the guitar room.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to be going to Marshall's family's, but I don't know if we're going to leave Thursday and drive or Wednesday. They have internet there, so I could do it there maybe. I don't know. I don't know. All these logistical issues when it comes to holidays and families and blah. Blah.
Family.
Family.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
What did Alex Gumpel comment on? Your
What?
photo on Facebook that you put up. It's nearly time for a spooky episode. Alex Gumpel said, "Whoa, it's like a Life Touch high school portrait." That is spooky. with the backdrop and everything. That is true.
Oh my god.
That's
Whatever, Alex. Shut up.
Shut up, Alex. I miss Alex and
Yes, agreed. Let's
And what
storm the brick house, you guys.
and Grumpy Hippo.
That
What
always
was
ends well. Cranky hippo.
Cranky Hippo, Grumpy Hippo. Oh yes, and the minions can always step in. Yes. More summer dates. Nothing happens in the summer, Whiskey. Well, it's summer. People go on vacation.
I can look some stuff. I can look up animal dates, like I said.
Yeah.
It's not too difficult.
And there are a whole bunch of dates that I just
I want to say
and
taper
it's
days
like-
in July.
boring.
When's Taper Day?
Tapier?
World Taper.
Don't know.
World Taper Day is April 27th. Do we have a lot of April already? We have a couple things in April.
Yeah, there's a bunch in April, but that's okay.
Square Root Day.
Yeah, Gord is right. Tom Merritt has experience researching significant dates. He did the This Week in Tech History.
I added World Taper Day. And then Wombat Day, I think,
Wombat
is
Day, I love it.
October 22nd.
Wombats and tapirs. Is there an invertebrate day?
Let's look it up.
Because if we're going to have Spider Day, we should have Spider Day.
I think I looked that up. Is it not on the list already?
I think it is. Annual Invertebrate Day.
Oh, maybe.
What? Is that really true? That's awesome. When is that? June 29th. Is it every June 29th? Hold on. Let me find out if this is really every... It says annual, but sometimes I think people just make stuff like that up.
Yeah,
Because
they
this
do.
website, this website's only June 29th in 2013. They make it up and say it's annual, when in fact it's not.
Let's see. International
Annual Invertebrate
Spider Day. This says March 14th,
Excuse me. March 14th.
which is also Pi Day.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Well,
Save a
Invertebrate
Spider
Day.
Day.
Invertebrate Day, maybe this is just a British thing, June 28th, so maybe it's around June 28th, 29th.
Okay, let's look for that.
Oh, but then it says July 4th, 2015. I think they're just making it up.
Oh, they're all made up.
Make-it uppity. I know.
They're all made up.
I know they are. It's like, let's just have a day this day.
International
somebody-
Polychaete Day.
I love it.
Annual Invertebrate Day.
How about, let's see, what about,
I'm just going to search Invertebrate Sex Day.
awesome. Look for it.
I'm just searching.
We should just make it uppity it.
Yeah, it doesn't exist yet.
We could put it in the summertime, maybe. Or how about Sea Slug Day?
I looked that up earlier today, and it looked makety up.
Oh, October 29th is Sea Slug Day. What?
Yeah, I don't think it's real.
Did we just miss Sea Slug Day? I love Sea Slug
Yeah,
Day.
I feel like they just made that up this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Echinoderm.
How about Nudibranch Day?
Nudibranch Day. There we go.
No.
No Nudibranch Day.
No. How about...
But just for everybody's enjoyment, here is a wonderful picture of a sea slug that looks like a cow.
Oh.
Oh, isn't that so cute?
Here it says that Invertebrate Day is June 28th. Is that what you found before?
What?
Invertebrate Day, June 28th?
Yeah, it was around there, June 28th, 29th. And then it was like July 4th, another day. It's kind of weird.
We can just pick one. It doesn't need to be accurate.
Yes, it does. The science.
Let's see.
Makey up the invertebrate day. Take a little picture of a sea slug cow. Moo moo, how, how.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so cute, isn't it? It's adorable. It's just so cute. Ah, I want to eat it up. I know that wouldn't be a good idea.
National Arachnid Day.
Don't we have
Scabies.
that?
I'm looking. Let's see. National Arachnid Day.
I swear we had something like that. But we don't, so maybe you should put that in there.
Nope, we don't. And it's not real.
Somebody was joking about it then, and we didn't actually put it in.
Poor spiders. Underrepresented.
What was National Library Day? Ed, April something. Got halfway into the calendar. April 16th.
I like Square Root Day, April 4th, because it's only next year, because 4/4/16.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think they said it happens like 12 times a century or something. So
Put it in the calendar.
I did.
Don't just
It's in
talk
there.
about the. Don't
It's in
just
there
talk about
already.
things.
It's in there.
Okay, good. Good.
What else? Oh,
Yes. My husband officially became an experimental subject today.
oh no, really?
Yeah, it's cool. It's not really experiment anymore. It's off-label use. Off-label use. That's good. He's not going to have any wrinkles anymore.
Really?
I'm jealous. Not
There's
really.
Red Panda Day.
Oh,
It's also in October, though.
Meh.
There's so many pandas.
We could just do one panda day. That's fine.
The red panda really needs to be called what it is. It's a raccoon.
It's a raccoon, yeah. What link is Web21 sharing? What is that? Product forums? Do not click scary links.
I clicked it. I will not be scared away.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's
Thanks.
about sorting the spreadsheet. Kiki.
Oh, fantastic. That's helpful.
All right, minions. All right, Kiki. All right, Blair. It's past my bedtime.
I know.
You
it's
are going to
bedtime.
leave first.
What?
Unheard of, and I'm the sick one.
Yes. Unheard of, but I'm feeling left out because I don't have a costume. So.
I took my costume off.
I know, I'm the only one now.
Hello.
Oh.
And you don't want me to take it off. I'm scary underneath it.
Oh, I have to do that part of things.
I look forward to hearing when we're doing stuff in the future.
Did you have other things you wanted to discuss, Justin?
No, I really don't. I'm good.
You tapped out for the TWIS-oween, huh?
Everything is good. Well, I had such a trying day. You have no idea. I had to
Aw.
venture into my own mouthful cavity.
That's right, the
Oh,
dentist.
It's upsetting.
I went to the dentist today, and it took a lot of energy. I had to fight off gag reflexes during X-rays.
Yeah.
I had to confront my own toothy mortality, and I had to bite my tongue, and I mean that figuratively.
Figuratively, not literally.
No, it was so figuratively because, they're talking about it was not even me they were talking to. They were talking to the person in the booth next. I don't know how advanced or horrible their situation is, but they were talking about, you might want to be careful when it comes to sharing straws with your children or kissing. I know that's tough, but maybe not direct lip to lip because of the fear of the bacteria spreading from one mouth to the other, and the bacteria is the thing. And I'm like, oh, this is that one dentist that really doesn't want you to chew gum or something. Like there's something wrong with, I don't know. This is like the outlier. I don't agree with.
You already share all of the bacteria with
I
your
know
children.
you share all
It's
the
too late.
bacteria with your children and your pets
Yeah.
and everything else that you come into contact with in this world. And if your children have a healthy bacteria microflora in their mouth, that might help you more than it will hurt them. And this idea that constantly sanitizing teeth and your mouth from any sort of living bacterial microflora is somehow going to benefit the mouth. I just can't. I don't get it. I don't agree. And so I'm like, I just need to be quiet. And then my own dentist is talking about, yes, these, they don't know. They don't understand. This is a new dentist. They don't understand that I haven't actually been to a dentist in 25, almost 30 years.
Oh, no.
Well, I've been a couple times. I go in once in a while. It's like, okay, whatever.
It's
So,
time.
They're like, you have all these cavities, but luckily we've caught them all early. I'm like, I had the same 8 you're talking about 20 years ago, and they're still good. I have a healthy mouth microflora. This is on, and I took I got to go back. I got to research what drugs I was given experimentally as a youth as part of some sort of test thing that they stopped doing. But I took the fluoride pills.
Right.
And I get it. There might be reasons why they don't just give them to kids now. There was some people who had liver problems, whatever. But I'm 42 with known tooth damage that came not from tooth decay, but from face planting on tile that did some damage. And I'll be straightforward. Not the most active brusher that you could. I've got the toothbrush. I try to remember to get there before bedtime, but not every day. Tooth floss, I don't have time.
As opposed to what kind of floss?
As opposed to that underwear that women can often be seen wearing nowadays. But the point is, I go in and yeah, I remember these are the same 8 that were talked about as this is, you have to do something now or it will forever alter the fate of your teeth. It was 20 years ago, and I didn't do anything about it then, and I didn't do anything about it then, I didn't do anything about it then. But I did take in the, again, disclaimer, I do get paid $1 a year from hydrogen peroxide manufacturing Glitterati. But I do do my occasional, more frequent even than the hydrogen peroxide mouthwash. If it's a bacteria problem that causes cavities, let's get a fresh start once in a while with the hydrogen peroxide. The same 8 cavities haven't progressed in 20-something years. So
I think you're the oddity.
Well, but maybe it is. Maybe it is the fluoride treatment given as youth. I don't know. I'd like to know why my teeth have managed to survive through years, decades of neglect. And I think preserving a healthy microflora of the mouth may have something to do with it. And I don't eat a lot of those I don't eat a lot of those foods, I guess, that were on that cancer list also. And really, like, I've seen how people cook these meats. I've seen how people barbecue. They blacken stuff. There's like charred, blackened stuff on the meat that people are eating, and that looks like that could cause cancer. I don't know if the meat has anything to do with it in that study, and that's sort of been my irritation all week with the fact that that never got mentioned.
Well, you're unusual. You're superhuman.
I may be.
Okay. I'm going to go rest my voice so I'm not completely hoarse in the morning.
Good night.
I might be, though.
I hope you feel better.
Thanks.
Drink some hot water with lemon water,
I will.
honey.
I think
Put
I'm on the upswing from this cold for sure, but it's going to
That's
take a
good.
couple days.
Feel
And they
better.
want to take
Cold
teeth.
suck.
I want to take my wisdom teeth. I'm 42. I have wisdom teeth. I didn't even notice them come in, and they want to take them out. I'm like, leave my wisdom teeth alone. You didn't get them back then.
Yeah, no, it's a funny
Why-
thing.
Why are
They
you
just-
getting them now?
They just expect that people are not going to take care of them, and they'll get cavities, and so
Well, they have cavities. That's part of it.
prophylactically, they're all.
I know where another teeth. There's
Oh.
4 in the. There's another 4 in the wisdom. But I'm like, I'm proud of the fact that I was evolved enough to have the wisdom teeth come in normally, as they're supposed to, as they should. I feel like I have evolved as a human to the point where wisdom teeth have a home in my mouth. I think I'm gonna try to take care of them. I think I'm gonna.
There
I'd
you
rather
go. Take care of your teeth. You heard it from Justin.
by
Or
avoiding
don't,
the-
actually, is I think what he was trying to say.
I don't know. Like, I don't like grind my teeth when I sleep or talk or anything. I don't know. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right?
Nothing and everything.
This is what amused me though. It's like I didn't tell my dentist that these are the other 8, not the wisdom teeth, because I didn't have wisdom teeth last time I was at the dentist. But the fact that the 8 that he's talking about are the same 8 that have been there and still aren't progressed. What do you got to do then? This is damage done by bacteria that are no longer anywhere near my mouth.
Plaques formed years ago
Yeah.
in the dark ages while you were a child.
Okay.
And they want me to do gum treatment, some sort of deep down gum clean. And then he's like, you'll see your gums are going to recess after you do this, but that's just because they're bloated with infection. I'm like, I don't. Now I feel like I'm being sold something. I'm so suspicious of dentistry just because I've like every
Well, because
kid,
people survived with teeth before dentists.
right, but also because every parent I've talked to in this town has had the dentist say that the child needed jaw widening of some sort. What the F? How can every kid in this town happen to need some sort of jaw widening? Like, this has got to be the most absolute BS.
Well, so before that, it was we need to pull out some teeth. So it's just this whole thing about you you aren't supposed to keep all of your teeth, right? So that's part of the deal, is that as people who before toothpaste and flossing and all these things, teeth would rot and fall out. And so you didn't end up with all of the teeth that you started with. And so that's why your jaw is not wide enough to oftentimes people's jaws cannot accommodate all of their teeth. So that's why you get crooked teeth. That's why teeth need to be straightened. That's why jaws potentially need to be widened. Or back in the day, maybe just a few decades ago, they would pull teeth and then give you braces.
And they were talking about they could straighten my bottom teeth. I'm like, I don't even smile with my bottom teeth. I smile with my top teeth. Like, who cares? Like, no. Leave the outsides of my teeth alone. Just get,
Just make sure they're not going to fall out. So
or
you
if they're
don't
gonna
get
fall out,
prematurely.
put in one of those self-growing teeth that they invented. That,
That we talked about from the fishies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the right idea, though. Just keep your teeth healthy, and everything else after that is like secondary, right? All right.
Anyway, I'm going back and having them do everything they say they want to do.
Oh, really?
I'm giving up. I'm just saying, go ahead. You're in charge.
Good
You know
luck.
teeth better than me.
You need to tweet out pictures of you with a chipmunk face if you get swollen cheek. Yeah, chipmunk cheek. I want to see those pictures on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been the scariest Halloween ever.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Gum disease makes everything scary. Ay, don't lose your teeth. Keep them in your head, kids. Don't eat too
Happy
much
teeth.
candy at Halloween. Don't go overboard. I hope everyone has a wonderful Halloween. I hope everyone enjoyed the Twissoween celebration of science today. That was fun. Yeah. So much fun. And I hope you all make sure to brush and floss, and you'll come back next week. Squeaky clean. Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us in the after show. Good night.